So it was scary because, bullying wasn't a thing like it is now, that just back then they just did it. You know what I mean? So, um, growing up with my brother having A's, my mom being an alcoholic, my dad not in my life, we never had a place to live until I remember my sister-in-law got with my brother and they had a baby. And then we started having some normalities, and I would say like a house. We got a house in Burbank. Long story. Um, ended up we ended up finally getting a place together in this in Wilmington, California, and it was like a sixplex. It was my brother, my brother, and his wife and my niece, and then two houses down was my mom, my stepdad, and me, and then around the corner in the other one was my grandma. Um, and that was about the most normality we had. But every weekend was a fight. Every weekend was a duking out, hitting each other with frying pans, pulling knives on everybody. That was the lifestyle I remember. Um, all this time though, my brother's dying. So my family is losing their, for better lack of words, losing their shit. My mom tried to kill herself during this time. Few weeks later, my sister tried to kill herself after that because she couldn't deal with her husband dying. I call her my sister, but she's my sister-in-law. Um, and you know, after that, I mean, I don't remember. Me and her get to talking. She lives with me now, and we get to talking about stories like that. And I don't remember too many birthdays. Very rarely Christmas. I remember Thanksgiving was a really big thing for some reason, but um, growing up like that. And then after my brother passed, it got worse. Um, I started getting in a little bit of trouble in the neighborhood I lived in. Um, I'm half Mexican, half white. I decided not to like the white side of me for some reason, and hanging out with the gang members and started wanting to do a bunch of stupid stuff. So my mom thought moving me to the mountains would get my life together, but it didn't. So I ran into some people that were using drugs and started using. I learned how to sell drugs really quick, enough to where I felt confident that running away from home I can do and pay for my own bills. I made a lot of money as a 14, 15-year-old kid. Back in the early 90s, $100 was probably like $500 nowadays. So I ran away and it was all off to the races from there. I selling drugs in and out of jail, in and out of juvenile hall. And once I got in trouble, they would just bring me back to my mom and I would just rerun away again. Um, so I did that until I got a prison term in 96, 97.